must I see this?
Another detour?
It's easy to get lost when you leap across time, Kupo.
We can go back to the gate anytime. Let's take a breather.
Oh, thanks.
Say, Sarah. You remember when you told me that you saw lightning in me, in your dreams?
Kupo?
Yeah.
Are you still having them?
No. The last time I saw lightning was the night before we met. Although, I've had lots of dreams about what happened the next day.
Okay.
Why do you ask?
I was just curious.
All right. My turn. I want to know about Yule.
I don't know anything about either of the Yules you met.
What do you mean? She could be a time traveler, right? Just like you and me and Snow.
I don't think so. She's like a reincarnation. A new Yule born over and over. In each generation of the Farseers, a girl with the same face, the same powers born. That girl is always called Yule.
So you're saying every age we travel to, there's a different Yule waiting? A Yule from Erba, and a Yule from Yasha's Massif.
But they're all different. And neither are the Yule I knew. Although it took me a long time to actually start believing it.
Kupo.
Noel, I've been thinking. If we keep traveling through time, and resolving paradoxes and changing history, doesn't that mean the future you come from will change along with everything else?
Perhaps it'll become a future where I never existed.
Is that possible?
Sure it is. But it's okay if it does. There's too much sadness in my world. Your future. It'd be better if it never happened at all.
Kupo.
Well, come on. Let's go. We've got a date with lightning, remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kupo?
Something is happening in the ruins of what was once the most prosperous city in the world. Many of the scientists and researchers who came to investigate the site have gone missing. And when they do, ominous sphere-shaped objects appear in their place. Mog seemed to know all about the orbs. He told us they're called the Rubies of Grief. They're manifestations of the remorse and sadness left by the unlucky souls who disappeared into the paradox. The orbs resonate with a powerful emotion sealed inside. What kind of message are they trying to tell us? We stepped into the rift and solved the paradox. It was the same paradox, the same ancient threat that Yule had banished into the void beyond so long ago. The Seeress distorted the timeline to save an entire city. But I have to wonder, what went through her mind as she performed such an act? Did she know how her intervention would change things? Did she look into the future? Was she able to see the consequences of what she did? Wow, check it out. What is this place?
I don't think it's a theme park. Maybe a casino? But I've never seen anything like it before.
Well, I guess it's worth taking a look.
The power to influence the future.
the power to alter destiny. Such an ability may, if one was not careful, change a person's fate for the worse. Such power was never meant for mortal man. There are none who possess the wisdom to wield it. Sarah, you must seek out your own answers as you waver at the edge of despair.
Wow. How do you build something like this?
A little bit at a time, I guess. It probably took a lot of people working together over decades, maybe even centuries, to make this city what it is now.
They had a vision for the future, and it grew from there, huh? You know what, Sarah? I used to think the only way to make a better future was to change something right away, in the here and now. But creating something for people to build on? That's not a bad idea. Right? Even if it can't be completed in one lifetime, it's still worth starting. If you believe that someone in the next generation will take up the same ideal, then the dream lives on.
That sounds like Hope's way.
I wish she could have seen it.
Yule, you mean? She's very special to you, isn't she?
She was, but I couldn't protect her. Oh. Huh?
Threat level signal. All sections of academia on high alert.
What threat? I hope they're not talking about us.
The bots must see us as intruders.
That can't be good. We should look for a way to slip through.
This terminal's on. Shall we do some snooping?
Snoop away. We can't fight back if we don't know what we're facing. Not this way.
Or this! No, I think we're trapped.
I think you're right. All right, we give up. We won't fight anymore, so why don't you show yourself? Caius!
Pretend to capitulate and buy yourself time. It's not a bad strategy.
You've got no reason to fight me, Caius.
Wrong. You are the enemy. You are contradictions in the timeline. I have every reason to eliminate you. 200 years ago, you learned the forbidden history, and were entombed in that tower as a consequence. But now you stand before me alive and well once again. What can that be if not a paradox?
Towers and forbidden histories? What's he talking about? Could it be something from the future?
Could be. Maybe at some point we travel 200 years before this time and encounter Caius there. But I don't plan on letting him kill us.
There is no mistake. You are one and the same. A distortion, a contradiction.
Caius, this is unlike you. If we're in your way, why not just stop us yourself?
A fitting sacrifice was required for you to comprehend your transgressions. To that end, I enlisted some assistance.
Sarah!
Right.
Your very existence poisons the timeline and invites disaster.
He really is convinced we're the cause of this paradox, huh?
Vermin, if this tragedy is to come to an end, no trace of you can remain in this reality.
Guess we fight. Another pack. You! No! Get away from her! You! Are you okay? No!
No!
You will...
No! Look out!
I've got it! You'll why?
I saw death. If I were to live, it would bring contradiction to the timeline.
But why?
It's because of us. Just like Kaya said, we're causing a paradox to occur. Because of that, Yul has to... She has to...
Caius is not here.
You mean he's not here in the city?
Yul, hold on, please!
No, I am not the Yul you once knew. But thank you.
For the love of Etro, don't thank me. An artifact from Yul.
She's showing us the way.
Yeah.
Koopa.
Yul saw everything, you realize that? She knew exactly what would happen today. There was never a time she didn't.
But even so, she didn't try to avoid her fate.
It's the law of the Farseers. Seers must not change history to save themselves. Because if they do, they can doom thousands of others to a worse fate instead. How about it? Ready for the truth?
The law of the Farseers. It's a terrible thing to live by. Because to obey it means someone has to sacrifice themselves. Lightning, tell me, is there no way for us to save everybody? Noel and I are traveling through these gates because we believe we can change our fate. But even as we do, I can't forget what Yul said. She said Caius isn't in this city. But if that's true, who was it that we met here? Yul wanted us to come here.
The gates link places and eras that are connected somehow. Do you remember the Forbidden History? The one Caius was talking about? I'll bet we'll find some clues here.
200 years ago, you learned the Forbidden History, and were entombed in that tower as a consequence.
Could this be the tower?
The Proto-Fal'C project was begun in 13 AF under the direction of the Academy. The objective was to develop an artificial Fal'C in order to re-levitate Cocoon. The project was proposed and designed by Alyssa Zidell and directed by Hope Estime.
Do you realize what this means? The Academia Fal'C must have been built by
He
Hope.
needed the power to float Cocoon.
Vanille and Fang. He did it all for them.
But then Caius took control of the artificial Fal'C, and now we need to find out why.
Was that us? From before? This machine can show different eras.
He might have been watching us from here the whole time.
Do you mean Caius?
If that's who he really was, the Caius we met in Academia seemed different to me. I don't think he was the real Caius.
How could you tell?
We used to spend a lot of time together. We were both guardians. Warriors who were charged with protecting the Cirrus, although I was young back then, just starting out. Anyway, he took off, left me and Yule on our own. I couldn't protect her, not by myself. Then, when it was just me left, a portal appeared. I went through it, and next thing I knew, I was in Valhalla.
You met them there, didn't you? My sister, and Caius.
I don't know why I keep running into him wherever I go. But I do know he wouldn't sacrifice the Cirrus. It's not in him. There's no way he'd allow Yule to come to harm.
Well, we've got to find him. Yule brought us here, and we have to help.
Yeah. Not again. It's so frustrating.
What's wrong?
I'm missing some of my memories. I'm trying to think about what happened after Caius left us, but I can't remember how Yule died. But I remember her face. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Why don't we just try the switch?
The circuits are tangled with another age, Kupo.
It's being jammed by a paradox.
Maybe we can fix it with a key from another time.
Kupo!
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. She doesn't know who we are. I guess she's not Alyssa after all. Alyssa?
We used to know a girl who looked like you. But that was a long time ago now.
My apologies. I must recalibrate my previous greeting. It appears that you are acquainted with the original.
Original?
I am a duplicate of the Alyssa Zidell entity. My design is based on her biophysical data.
How'd she...
She's a machine!
A fabricated life form. Or a living machine. The semantics are irrelevant.
Alyssa, you haven't had any other visitors recently, have you? Like someone called Caius, for example.
The Caius entity came through recently, accompanied by a green-eyed girl. They were proceeding to the top of the tower.
Yule as well? Why is she here?
No, do you think Yule came here to tell us some kind of secret? Maybe the forbidden history that's supposedly locked up in this tower.
Trying to look on the bright side, are you? Still, You might just be right. If it means protecting the true timeline, the Cirrus is bound to help us.
If anyone knows the secrets of this tower, it'll be Caius. If it means resolving the paradox, we have to talk to him.
We make the first move. Sounds good to me. Let's get our future back.
Alyssa, will you take us to the top floor?
Of course. This way.
What's happening?
Is this a paradox?
Go see what's happening. What is this? No.
Help!
What the hell was that?
This was an effect of the paradox. You just witnessed an event that took place on this spot 187 years ago.
Wait a minute. So, you're saying the real Hope and Alyssa were murdered?
Yes, after the tower was completed. During the Proto-Fal'C development project, the artificial intelligence and humans came into conflict.
The artificial intelligence killed them? Because they were in the way?
I'm afraid so.
Hope and the others were killed in this tower. And then, after they were dead, the AI took control of the Academy.
The broken Fal'C was created by a broken artificial intelligence. Humans were betrayed, and then they were wiped out.
And the duplicates were mechanical puppets that were built to hide what happened.
You two have seen it now. You've seen the forbidden history. People who know too much have to be buried.
It stopped moving.
Looks like they closed the door on us. Well, now we've seen the forbidden history. Does that mean we're stuck here for good?
200 years ago, you learned the forbidden history, and were entombed in that tower as a consequence. But now you stand before me alive and well once again. What can that be if not a paradox?
Do you remember what Caius said? In his memory, the next thing that happens is... we die.
That's why he acted the way he did. As far as he was concerned, we were supposed to be dead. He saw us 200 years later, assumed it was a paradox, and tried to get rid of us.
But there's a way out. If we can survive now instead of dying, that will automatically change history. We can save the future.
Agreed. Alyssa and Hope's fate are in our hands. It's not over yet. Not by a long shot. This is great. The artificial intelligence that killed Hope and his team now seems hell-bent on killing us.
So you don't think the Proto-Fal'C and the other AI are being controlled by Caius?
No, I don't. Someone else is pulling the strings.
Couldn't the culprit be the artificial intelligence itself? What if something that humans created found a mind of its own?
So you're saying a machine learned to think for itself? Huh. Then it wouldn't need anyone at the controls, would it?
We should search for the AI mainframe. Maybe we'll find out what's really going on.
We're getting close. Let's take it down!
We can do it! For Hope, for Alyssa, for Academia!
Yule, are you on your own?
Kupo, I brought you this.
Why? What should we do with it?
You must protect the timeline. I saw you in Erba. I trust you. I believe in you.
We're in the same time as when we met in Erba. So you're the same Yule.
Yes.
But who are you? Who are the Farseers?
I am the seeress of the oldest tribe on Pulse. My visions of the future are recorded and stored in the Oracle Drive. But that is long in the past. There is no more need to record the prophecies. I have Caius now.
What do you mean?
He is tasked with protecting the seeress and remembering her visions. Now and forever, he will remember the entire timeline. Caius. He is beyond death.
What? You mean he can't die ever?
The seeress possesses the eyes of Etro, and inside Caius beats the heart of chaos. The goddess has gifted him the curse of eternity. He is a guardian, and his mission is to protect the seeress. The power to see the future is a terrible weapon. It can turn history into chaos.
But then, I don't understand. Why are you helping us? I mean, you do know we're trying to change history, right?
History has already been broken. The timeline had been twisted before I met you. The distortion leads to a future of death and destruction. If you change the future, you can change the past and correct the distortions. The miracle that saved Cocoon has already been altered. Someone who is meant to survive did not come home.
Someone who was meant to survive. You mean my sister? You do, don't you? You're saying that lightning shouldn't have disappeared that day.
It was because the future was changed.
So if we keep traveling through the gates and resolve all the paradoxes that are happening...
Yeah.
If you change the future again, the true past will be restored. The past that you still remember, Sarah. Together, the two of you can correct the timeline.
Did you hear that, Noel? We've been doing the right thing all along.
Yes. Can you tell us something else? Someone has been laying traps for us inside this tower. Do you know who's behind it?
Your enemy. It is here inside the tower. It has generated the contradictions that threaten you. The machine is sentient.
A machine? So the Caius who we met earlier in academia, he was...
An imitation created by the machine.
And what about the other Caius? The one we saw in the tower?
He is real. He brought me here. And when we are finished, he will take me away.
Let's go.
Yes, go. And please, let me see a new future.
We'll do it.
Good. Everyone is smiling. This is the future I wanted to see.
I shall remember your pain. It will be carved in my heart, together with the memories of every other Yule, cursed to die this way.
I'm worried about Yule.
Yeah. But... if we're going to fight, we can't afford to have doubts. She's hoping for a better future and believes we can make it. Look, the fake Caius was sent out from this place.
But where's the enemy that Yule warned us about?
Proto-Fal'Cie. So this is what Yule meant by sentient machine.
This thing has been behind everything. It's the one who turned the people into Seath, and it's the one who's been trying to kill us in the tower. I don't understand. How did the future Proto-Fal'Cie end up here?
This place must be like the void beyond. A crossroads where the future and past intersect.
And that would enable time travel. Noel, do you realize what this means? The Proto-Fal'Cie could have used this place to travel through time and infiltrate the artificial intelligence. Then it could have manipulated the AI to kill all the humans in the tower and build the Fal'Cie of Academia's future.
You're saying the Proto-Fal'Cie took control of the AI and ordered it to build the Proto-Fal'Cie. It's a closed loop. A chicken and egg paradox.
Right. A paradox is exactly what it is. The Proto-Fal'Cie was trying to protect the distortion that gave birth to it.
And it knew all along that it was part of the paradox.
Just a sec. If the Proto-Fal'Cie can manipulate the past, that means...
It could travel back in time and rebuild itself.
As long as the crossroads exist, you cannot defeat the Proto-Fal'Cie, Kupo!
No way!
Hey! What are we gonna do now?
Mog!
We gotta stop it!
No!
Sarah! Now! Perfect! Okay, my turn! See how you like this! Time for you to go away! For good! Thanks to Mog, huh?
Kupo! You guys play her up, Kupo.
You saved the day.
Thank you. You did great. Again.
This is Hope's fault.
Huh?
He was the one who started building these things. Proto-Fal'Cie and AI both. Will you listen to me? Looking around for scapegoats. These fights are really starting to wear me down.
I don't blame you.
It's not gonna do us any good whining about the mistakes of the past. If we don't stop this thing from regenerating, we're never gonna get out of here!
The machine is manipulating the past. But then, there's no reason we can't either. Please, I hope you're watching this. Hope! Can you hear me? I've got a bone to pick with you. These machines you built
Sarah!
are driving me nuts!
You did it, Sarah.
But I didn't do anything. At least, I don't think I did.
Sarah, are you all right? Can you hear me?
I'm alive.
Oh, what a relief.
You worry too much, Noel.
Kupo.
Noel isn't himself these days. I wonder if it's because he can't remember the future. It's understandable. No one wants to think they'll forget something that's important to them.
You know something? When you get mad, you sure do remind me of your sister.
Careful. She might be watching, you know.
Kupo?
Hope we are returning to a better future.
Kupo?
I'm sure of it.